Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a little bit difficult technical difficulties earlier in the live, so I'm going to reintroduce our topic today and invite our guest. The average person spends up to 18 hours in their home. Therefore, our home are not just a place to rest. They are also environments that significantly impact our health and well-being. Spending so much time indoors makes it important to ensure our home have as minimal harmful chemicals in the environment as possible. Our home are often considered our safety nest, where we seek comfort and security, but they can also harbor hidden dangers if not properly maintained. And that's why we're so glad to chat on IG Live today with Alexandra Destler, founder and CEO of SafetyNEST. SafetyNEST is an award-winning digital platform committed to providing the most credible information about the effects of toxic chemicals on prenatal and early childhood health in order to safeguard children's health and reduce the incidence of preventable illnesses. During this live, we're going to discuss overlooked environmental health factors in our homes, how they impact pregnancy outcome, resources and tools people can use, and so much more. Yay, we made everything work and now it's perfect.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're perfect.
Okay, great. Then I could be you again, and so sorry for the challenge of getting my Instagram live going today, but here we are.
Hey, it's a good start. It's all good. It's all good. But thank you so much for taking the time to join us. But first, for anyone who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in public health and environmental health.
Sure, yeah. I mean, honestly, Jenna, I kind of fell into the whole area of public health and environmental health. I grew up as a kid, lived around the world, and with that sort of childhood, I always found a lot of peace in spending time in nature. And then, after college, I was really drawn towards working for environmental organizations that are looking at, protecting the environment, and then ended up in health organizations. And I was always really surprised. Environmental organizations at that time, they weren't really talking about health. And in the healthcare organizations, they weren't talking about being, and I always saw those as so kind of, so inextricably linked. And really, at that point, decided to dedicate my career focus on raising awareness about the link between health, and not from a research or a science perspective, as an educator. So how do you?
Your LinkedIn. Oh, it looks like you're cutting off a little bit. Now you're good.
Like, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Not sure. Okay.
Cool. Your LinkedIn bio speaks about global sustainability. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. Wait, can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah. No, I can hear.
My way of thinking about global sustainability has really changed over the years as sort of our challenges have changed, right? I'd say the consistent thread when I think about global sustainability is, really working towards a cleaner environment that human health, and doing that at different levels, doing that at an individual level in our, in our own homes, doing that at an organizational or corporate level in terms of social responsibility, and then looking, at a community and broader level. I'd say also key to global sustainability is partnerships across sectors, working towards a shared vision. And I just want to highlight, one area I think today that I get really excited about when thinking about sustainability is around innovation in chemistry. There's a lot of, again, not being a scientist, but, being excited about all kinds of innovations taking around creating new types of material that really ultimately lead to safer consumer products that are compostable, et cetera. So.
Love it. Love it. Totally aligned. But what made you realize there's a need for a platform like SafetyNest?
Yeah, so it's really personal for me. I became a mom, and I think it was my kid, sort of leaning over her, and I'm looking at this vinyl bath mat. Uh, So it's hot water. Oh, is it disintegrated? Like, what's the, would get, but if I would be struck by questions like on how should not know work, get information that's, that's really clear, that's credible, that's concise, help me know what's safe and what's not safe in the home. And then the second catalyst was a report from UCSF and how reproductive health providers, so your OBGYNs, but also your doulas and midwives and nurses, don't have the training tools to counsel their patients. It struck me as such an incredible opportunity to educate, women when they're really poised to make behavior change and to integrate this important topic into prenatal care. So that's what started by SafetyNEST.
Yeah, that kind of also like my kind of following on my next questions, before we get into my safety nest, like I was hoping you could explain a little bit like the need for this type of education. Like many people might not be aware how toxic chemicals in our environment can impact pregnancy outcomes
Yeah.
and other like children's health. Explain a little
Sure.
bit.
I mean, I'll start, really at the very beginning, which is as a consumer, when you go to the store, you think that if you buy something, like somebody's tested it and it's safe, right? But, the alarming statistic that I found out in grad school was that, there's like 40,000 chemicals that are out there. This is US EPA information, and less than 1% have been tested for their human safety. So, there are dozens of chemicals that we're exposed to in our home every day from, sometimes lead in lipstick and flame retardants in bed mattress. And, there's no enforcement in the US for new chemical to be tested for safety before going to market. So all of that is the backdrop, and then increasing, really robust evidence showing that exposure to many of these chemicals in our everyday lives, particularly during development, are linked to a whole host of adverse health outcomes, that can last over the lifespan, whether it's childhood cancers or preterm birth and diabetes, obesity, et cetera. So that's really the driver, and that's the, sort of tidal wave of toxicity, if you will, that we live with. I do one national, one international organization, internationally, the International Federation of OBGYNs here in the US, that put out, statements basically saying that, the evidence is robust and preventing exposure to environmental chemicals is a priority for reproductive health professionals. And that's something that I really, believe strongly in.
What are some like common sources of harmful chemical exposures in our home?
Yeah, so plenty. The good news is that these common sources are ones that we can swap out for safer choices, pretty readily. So I'll focus on, sort of where you find them in the home and alternatives are to make that, sort of like for our listeners today. So, one is cleaning products. There's a lot of harsh chemicals in cleaning products. You can probably tell by, maybe your eyes burning or scratchy throat. Any of safer alternatives that are labeled like fragrance free, clear, and also really like DIY baking soda, lemon vinegar, that's more affordable to replace the conventional products. So that's a big one. I'd also say pesticides, big one. And there's tools out there to avoid highest level pesticides, such as spinach and strawberries. You want to get organic. Environmental Working Group has a dozen Clean 15 that gives you that list, so you can easily figure out, okay, what really should I get organic? Not as critical. Plastic, honestly, anti-plastic crusade, because there's nothing good about it in my mind. But you find it lots of places in your home, in your kitchen. You want to avoid storing your food in plastic food. You want to avoid storing food in plastic. Use glass, steel, ceramic instead. There's also, your water bottle, like that's an easy stainless steel or glass. Never want to heat food in plastic, certainly not microwave. That's, a big no-no. Talking about the kitchen, another important kind of swap out, if you will, is your cookware. You want to get nonstick, Teflon for sure, because of the PFAS in those products, and stainless steel or cast iron. A couple more just quick ones, or, I guess I'll stop with one other quick one, which is really near and dear to my heart because I have 2 teenage girls now. So that's personal care products, right? There are many ingredients that can be harmful, particularly for your reproductive health, endocrine working, you want to avoid products like that. Again, Environmental Working Group and, in Millie Marker, and there's lots of other great research, and we'll discuss that later, where you can help navigate and to find safer products.
What do you think are some of most overlooked environmental health factors in our homes?
I mean, I'm constantly learning things. So I would say, dust sort of
Mhm.
keeps accumulating too, right? So dust can accumulate, chemicals can accumulate in dust. So it's best to use, when you're cleaning, use like a wet mop, use a vacuum with a HEPA filter. Ideally, you keep you don't use up before you go in your house,
Mhm.
dirty doormat. But best to take your shoes off. Towels. I know that seems like what could be wrong with my towels, right? Well, I mean, I don't want to get like too far flung on this, but towels can have synthetics, it can have antimicrobials, it can have pesticides. So, if possible, look for that kind of product for your home that is, if not organic, because that can be expensive, but gently used or with untreated materials. Gas stoves a lot lately, but easy fix there is use your overhead fan, open the window, open the door, so to protect your indoor air. So there's
I
over.
know people can get like super overwhelmed when they start thinking about all the stuff that they need to do. I think this is where we want to offer solutions, and this is where my safety desk comes in. So okay, let's talk about like what exactly is my safety nest.
Okay, so we're a woman-owned corporation, and as you said, kind of at the top of the conversation, our mission is to dramatically reduce preventable diseases that are linked to toxic chemicals, and so, really looking at supporting families, help provide reproductive health providers. And how we're doing that is really creating a suite of products. We have a website, which I encourage you to go visit, and a mobile app, that's really focused on providing this information in a way that's really easy, that's actionable, that's affordable, that's very credible. All our partnerships and resources are, really very high credibility. We're also developing a series of we have in-person trainings for reproductive health providers, and we're building online modules. And we'll keep building products and listening to our audience to make sure that we can provide ways again to help create the steps to create a healthier home. Because as you said, it is overwhelming, and we want to do it in a way that's not scary and not entertaining, but empower. Like every step.
I know you also have this really incredible tool on your website called Better Nest Score, because this is like a really good way for people to take that little quiz and then figure out, okay, what are to prioritize, where they started they should start making changes. So tell us a bit more, like what is the Better Nest Score?
Yeah, so the idea behind the betterness score, it's a quick kind of environmental assessment tool. And everyone has a different lifestyle, everyone's different habits, different purchasing decisions. So the idea is, people have always said to me like, well, where do I start? It's so overwhelming. So the idea here is like, okay, well, answer these 8 or 9 questions. It really sort of gauges your exposure to the most harmful chemicals that can be in the home, whether it's lead or around plastic or cleaning products like we talked about, pesticides, and then it gives you a score, a scale of 1 to, I think it's 9. The higher the score, the sort of healthier your home is at this point. And it provides 3 very, very clear steps on, here's what you can do around what XYZ, cleaning products, personal care products, et cetera, and a whole bunch of resources to go with that. So it's a tool, or we hope will help get start our journey of, again, creating a healthier home.
I know my Safety Nest website also have a ton of resources. Tell us about some of the resources and what people can learn on the website.
Sure. So we basically designed the website to have 2 pathways, one for women and families, and then also providing tools for reproductive health providers. But so both of those, certainly the Betterness Sport tool is a key piece of it. The other sort of, I guess, robust component of the site is what we call what you need to know, and it's a big repository of videos, articles, tips, reports, guides. We refresh it every couple of months. So you can, really search on any topic and get information about that topic. In addition to that, we have, and it's all from, most evidence-based sources. And then find on my safety nest is to navigate by room. So you can go into the and you'll find basically everything from soup to nuts, literally, in the kitchen, bathroom, nursery, and find guidance about what to avoid and safer choices. And it's again designed in a way to be engaging and not fear-based. That's all Safety Nest, our own content. There's also a community action page to get involved at a local level. with organizations that are, fighting the good fight to make change. There's a lot of information there, updated news on our homepage and spotlights, some of the other things.
I also want to highlight which one thing I really loved about my SafetyNEST app is that when you're navigating, it's like exactly like Alexandra said, it's so easy to navigate. It has graphics, even it point out like which where it is in which room that this is where you need to swap. So it's like super clear instructions, and then people can easily look at it and then also find the safety swaps in addition to where it is. It's super easy to use.
Yeah, for that, Jenna, because we're going to continue making it better. So I'm glad that you find it easy to use.
Love it. So how do you find practitioners to work with? Because you mentioned there one part is for practitioners and then one part is for moms or for families.
Yeah. So good news, I'd say two kind of strategies there. Word of mouth that, you know, families, women that are finding the site, then tell their practitioner. That's one way. And we've also, been doing in-person training. So we have a whole training module called, top 10 changes to moving a home. And we've delivered that now on the East Coast and in the Bay Area with the great doula network. And so through those trainings, we're finding that these practitioners want to be part of the directory. They want to be getting the resources that we have. So it's a combination of word of mouth and then the in-person trainings that are driving our partnerships with health practitioners.
Amazing. Because I could also see family, not only the site practitioners can use, the family can use to get information, but I think for family who trying to find like-minded, practitioners that to work with them, during the pregnancy process or birth or after, they can also find this information for like-minded practitioners on my SafetyNEST.
Yeah, and in fact, we're just starting a partnership with a great doula network in the Bay Area. Sister Web, I'll do a shout out to them. I think they'd be happy for that. But we're developing a co-branded site. So live on the sister website, but it's Nest. And so they'll be able to offer that to all of their clients and people that they're serving. And they serve really the at-risk low income women of color in the Bay Area. So it's a great partnership for us.
Amazing, amazing. So like one of the strategies swapping out to safer products, I know you have a safer product page on the website. So what are some resources and tools people can learn about on the safer products page?
Yeah, well, Millie Marker is among our resources that we're really excited about. So your at-home test kit is so valuable, and I'm happy that people can find it on SafetyNEST. We also have the environmental working group at base called Skin Deep, where you can just click and get a rating as to its level of safety. Clearia is a fabulous, have a free browser extension. So while you can download that, and then while you're shopping on Amazon, here they direct you on to, red flag or right to help you make the changes. Made Safe is a great organization that certifies products for safety, so you can feel safe in like anything that they've already certified. There's a couple other apps, TalksMe and things. So, it's not easy to find safe, and hopefully in time it will be easier. But at this point, that's our contribution, is to really find what are the most credible resources and tools out there and to share those with safety nesters.
Amazing. I also love this repository of different tools because people might find one tool more useful than other, or they want to compare. So will be like a really great resource hub for people to find this information.
Yeah. And, hopefully at the end of the day, we're all driving towards having things on the shelf, right? And not having to, act like chemists when we go to buy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah. I mean, I'd say two final points. One, I deeply believe everyone deserves access to really clear and credible information about toxic chemicals. So, that's a core part of our being, if you will. And the other piece that we talked about earlier, Jenna, is that, small steps make a difference. This content thing, it can be triggering, it can be scary, but, just keep in mind, like, little steps make a difference. So, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about our mission. I hope that.
Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for what you do. And then I encourage everyone will first follow my SafetyNEST and then also take the Better Nest Score quiz, so you know where to start, and then looking to if you're starting a family, looking to my SafetyNEST doula network and a practitioner network to find like-minded practitioners to work with.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jenna, and Million Mark. Great work you're doing.
Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time. Okay,
Bye.
bye.